What a great day for a groundbreaking. Ray Mosier, who is economic development for King County, said that this weather came with the property. So thank you, Ray. Thanks everybody for coming today. In the program today, we're going to recognize some of the leaders that were responsible for helping Orion get this site. And then we're going to turn some dirt. This groundbreaking marks a new chapter in Orion's 56-year history. This new facility will be the 4th building that we've occupied in those 56 years. If you do the math, this means that this building will last us for another 18 years. Based on how long it took to find this site, I've asked our broker to start looking for our next site tomorrow. This building and this site is all about jobs. Orion provides employment services to people with barriers to employment. Most of you know that. We provided over 300 people with services last year and placed over 110 people into competitive employment in King and Pierce counties this last year. In doing so, we enhanced the ability of these individuals to lead independent and fulfilling lives. Integrated and diverse workplaces improve our communities. This new, larger building will allow us to continue to grow our services and increase the number of people that we'll serve. Our thanks go out to all of you that have helped us make this day possible. Our first speaker is Mayor Pete Lewis. Orion had a challenging set of criteria when searching for a site for a new building. We needed sufficient space for a 100,000 square foot building with plenty of parking. The location needed to be zoned for light industrial due to our manufacturing processes. But most challenging was our requirement that the site needed to be within walking distance of a major public transportation hub. Transportation is one of the most significant barriers facing many of the clients with disabilities that Orion serves. It took 2 years to find the right site. We worked with countless brokers and multiple municipalities. I can say without hesitation that Mayor Lewis and his staff are easily the most creative and entrepreneurial group that we worked with. So here we are with the perfect site within the Auburn urban core with a metro park and ride right out our front door. I can say with certainty that were it not for Mayor Lewis and his staff, this could not have happened. Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce Mayor Lewis.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I would like to make a few introductions. First of all, we do have our entire council here. I'll start off with our Deputy Mayor, Nancy Backus, Bill Pelosa, Rich Wagner, Wayne Osborne is here, sitting, John Herman, John Partridge, and I know Largo Wells is here as well. I also wanted to make special note of one of the individuals, well, a couple of individuals who made this possible. Our staff, working with a group of other people, worked so hard on this. Our economic development manager, Doug Lean, was probably on the phone to John every day?
Twice a day.
Twice a day. And Bill Thomas, our whole planning department was involved in this. And this was all about a partnership. We also have our Chamber of Commerce CEO, Brian Barron here. Brian, there you are. As well as the Chamber CEO, Nancy Wyatt. Thank you, Nancy. This was about a partnership. This was about overcoming obstacles, and there were many in the process. We had some outstanding partners to this. And you hear me talking about partnerships all the time. I am a great believer in them. And here today, we had some outstanding partners with both the the King County Council and the Executive Office. King County Executive Dow Constantine was adamant, strong in his position, that this moved forward. He was there every single step of the way, and I so much appreciate it and all the work that he has done and all the work his staff do. Thank you, Dallard. Appreciate it. At the same time, our great and our only King County Council member, Pete Von Reitbauer, was always there for us when we needed to get any question answered or have his staff be anywhere at any time where we need it. Enterprise, go ahead, please. And I no longer can get the name right, but Enterprise Seattle was there with us as well, bringing this whole thing together. This was a partnership. We had a park and ride that we had to deal with. That was Metro. We had King County that we were working with. We had the City of Auburn and all our regulations. We have the airport on the other side, so we had FAA involved as well, which is always an interesting thing to do. But this has so much value. We talk about this, and this brings people to life. That's what I really like. This is people that might have challenges, and it brings them to life. It brings them back. It gives them a sense of worth, a sense of value, and we can do so much for them. It brings certainty to some of our veterans coming back so unsure because of injuries, what they might be able to do. Can you imagine the value that they receive from this? It's going to be an outstanding circumstance. And again, our past council member, Trish Borden of Trillium Services, who taught me a great deal, it just took me a while to learn it, has always been involved with these services, and I know she looks at Orion as being just a wonderful partner to our community. You all have reason to be proud here today. There are so many partners that I see here. I enjoy the fact that you all came out. I think this is the biggest groundbreaking ceremony that we have had in decades. Isn't that outstanding? And it didn't even rain. I want to thank you for being here for this groundbreaking on behalf of the City of Auburn. Now, I do hope before you leave you spend some sales tax money, because both the City of Auburn and King County need it. In the meantime, please enjoy the ceremony, and please be back here when we open the doors. I can't wait to see it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next speaker is King County Executive Dow Constantine. Whereas it took the vision of Mayor Lewis to make this deal happen, it took the political will of Executive Constantine. And that's an understatement. Two of the three parcels that constitute this site at one time belonged to King County. There were a myriad of processes and approvals that were necessary to get this deal done. That included 7 different jurisdictions that the mayor mentioned, ranging from King County to the FAA. This would not have been possible without the support and vision of Executive Constantine. Along the way, I got to know Dow a little better and found that in addition to being a strong leader, he's actually a pretty nice guy too. This project is a perfect example of how the public and private sector can work together to improve our community. Thank you, Dow, for your support.
Thank you, John, and thanks to everyone for being here on this great day. Before I get started, I wanted to also extend my thanks to someone who John mentioned in passing at the start, and that is our economic development guy. He's also our economic development department. Ray Mosier, who's right here, he's the guy who helped put this whole thing together. You know, my priority as executive has been to build prosperity, but also importantly to make sure that that is a prosperity that is accessible to all the people of this county. I cannot imagine a better or more effective partner to do this than Orion Industries. And I'm proud that King County has a partnership, not just now, but a long, long partnership with Orion. 3 decades ago, the King County's Economic Enterprise Corporation issued industrial revenue bonds that financed the construction of Orion's Federal Way facility. And in the last year, my office partnered with the City of Auburn on the property that makes up most of the site for this new building, as you've heard. This was a park and ride. It had become surplus to our needs. You know how that can create some complications when property is owned by transit and you're trying to do something that's really around policies in our general fund. But I told our folks, and this is the luxury of being the executive, I just tell them to make it work somehow, and then they have to go figure out how to do it, which is great. At the same time, Orion really needed a space to expand. Yes, they could have chosen to go outside of King County, but it was Mayor Lewis and his staff who saw the opportunity to partner with us. And we struck a deal in close coordination with Orion that keeps this vital aerospace company right here at home in King County. And that's why we celebrate the doubling in size of the Orion facility. This space gives Orion the ability to absorb its remarkable continuous double-digit growth and plan for even greater future growth. As executive, I've had the opportunity to lead the King County Aerospace Alliance to encourage expansion of our aerospace industry. And I've had the pleasure of being present 2 years ago as this company, Orion Industries, was honored by the Boeing Company in Chicago as one of their just handful of global suppliers of the year. Quite an honor out of tens of thousands of suppliers. As you've already heard, and most of you know, Orion is no ordinary, high-quality, industry-leading aerospace supplier. Since 1957, the mission of this company has been providing jobs and training to people who have barriers to employment. They've assisted and trained hundreds upon hundreds of people with disabilities, displaced workers, people who've maybe made some bad choices in their lives and are trying to get back on track. They've put them to work, both in their own manufacturing and call centers and in other area businesses. And what is the record with those folks after a year? With an 80% retention rate. It is a remarkable record and a great service to our entire community. And I was also pleased that Orion was selected for a $75,000 contract through our dislocated worker program so that we at King County can benefit from their expertise in retraining workers, including, importantly, our veterans. For all those reasons, I am so proud that I told our staff that this was going to get done, regardless of their squawking, except for Ray, he was on board the whole time. And that we've joined in partnership with Auburn and with Orion Industries, and congratulations on this wonderful new start.
Thank you, Dow. You know, Ray, he's not telling half the story, is he? Our next speaker is King County Council Member Pete Von Reichbauer, or as his friends know him, PVR. I'm proud to say that Councilmember Von Reichbauer is Orion's representative on the King County Council in our current location, Federal Way, and in our new location here in Auburn. Pete was the sponsor of the King County Council for the legislation on this site, and we could not have asked for a better advocate. Pete understood the benefit that this site provides by growing jobs in King County and the benefit it provides in growing services to people in our community with disabilities. In addition to being Orion's champion on the council, Pete held our hand through the legislative intricacies of the approval process, and I just want to say thank you, Pete, for your leadership, your enthusiasm, and support in getting this done.
Thank you, John, and thank you everybody for being here. I first met John and some of the folks on the board at a local restaurant that has since gone under. But at that time, I was impressed with his vision and his commitment to this region. And even though I represent Federal Way and Auburn, I looked at this as a great opportunity for the region. I was listening to Dow's comments about the staff. I was reminded about Old Testament Jacob's verse in Hebrews, where Jacob said he died leaning on his staff. Well, we've thrived on our staff. Our staff at the county council level and the county executive level, the city level as well, have been the ones who've brought this together. We as politicians are lucky to be here at the ribbon cutting, but we both know, all three of us know it's our staff who've really carried the ball on this, and we really appreciate that. We're not here to recognize brick and mortar. Many people are visualizing this beautiful structure, but in many ways the brick and the mortar is the vision and the teamwork that has built this. The brick was the vision that I received when I sat there at the old Marie Callender's. And John and some of the folks around him who are helping him as volunteers were trying to show me the vision of what they saw, not just for that year, but for a decade from now. And the mortar is the teamwork that came together. You people who work here, whether it's volunteers or paid, you are the folks who are the mortar to keep that brick together. One of the people that Dow Constantine and I got to know for too short a period of time was a fellow named Senator Warren Magnuson. And Senator Magnuson came to my district many times to help me on projects. And I always remembered someone asking him a question, Senator Magnuson, what is the issue today? And he said, easy, JOBS. And it's just as valid in 2013 as it was in the 1960s. Jobs is what we're about. Our jobs as elected officials is to encourage, improve, and hopefully help our job creation in this region. And today, John, you've done a great step forward in doing that. And Dow, Pete, and I appreciate the work you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Our final speaker is Alex Peach, Director of the Office of Aerospace for the state of Washington. I served with Alex on several aerospace industry boards and committees, and can emphatically say that Alex was a great choice by both Governor Gregoire and Governor Inslee to lead the Office of Aerospace. As one of the top 20 aerospace employers in the state of Washington, Orion benefits directly from a strong statewide aerospace strategy. Governor Inslee is a strong advocate for Washington's aerospace industry. The governor has supported initiatives in our state legislature this year that will result in keeping Washington State as the center of excellence for our nation's aerospace industry, the nation's leading supplier, and the national leader in aerospace jobs. Governor Inslee has made job growth and a healthy aerospace industry a key priority in his Working Washington agenda. Thank you, Alex, for the work that you do and are still doing in developing and supporting strategies to ensure that Washington State remains the top aerospace supplier in the country.
Good afternoon, and on behalf of Governor Inslee and the Director of the Department of Commerce, Brian Bonlander, and his staff, and in fact the entire state of Washington, please allow me to add our congratulations to you all today on this exciting occasion. You know, Orion is an essential part of the aerospace industry in Washington. As one of our 1,250 companies employing more than 131,000 people located in nearly every corner of our state, it is essential. And we are so pleased to see this company is one of those that is experiencing prosperity in this exciting time in the Washington aerospace industry. And the fact that you're doing so as a social enterprise with an amazing mission of providing jobs and essential job training to those who might not otherwise have a chance to work is to be commended. We are indeed in a formative time in our aerospace industry. The Boeing company has gone through an amazing period of growth here, hiring 13,000 employees in the past 2 years and investing hundreds of millions of dollars in both the Everett plant and closer here in Renton. And while the company has announced some retraction in recent months, employment levels at the company remain at their highest level in decades. The 787 is back in the air. We now have a new version of the 747. The 767 tanker is ahead of schedule, and development of the 737 MAX is well underway. Soon the company will be launching development of a new iteration of the 777, and the governor is committed to doing whatever it takes to ensure that that new airplane is built in Washington as well, and we look forward to working with all of you to make sure that happens. Washington's aerospace strength comes from our diverse supply chain and our deep and knowledgeable workforce. And in both of those areas, Orion is at the heart. both in the supply chain and building a workforce that matters. And this is why the governor and I are so proud of this expansion today. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak, and we look forward to continuing to help Orion grow.
Thank you, Alex. There's a couple other folks in the audience I want to recognize today. Alex mentioned Director of Commerce, Brian Bonlander. Brian, back there. And Mayor, I think you mentioned city council members. I do want to recognize Janice Nielsen, Auburn School District Board President. Janice, are you still here? And Kip Heron, School Superintendent. Is Kip still here? I guess Kip left, but he was here. Rick Locke with Department of Commerce. Rick? And Monica Whedon, Department of Commerce. And Sally Harris, Department of Commerce. And we can't let the City of Auburn get all of the attention. We have a Federal Way Council member here also who happens to be my Director of Marketing, Kelly Maloney. Where's Kelly? This is really Kelly's party. And the mayor mentioned Doug Lean. I want a special mention to Doug Lean as well, Economic Development Director for the City of Auburn. I was telling the mayor while we were standing over here a few minutes ago that Doug really played me like a salmon. You know, the process of getting this deal done was very complicated and time-consuming, and every now and then I'd get a little bullheaded and take off, and Doug would just give me a line and wait a couple of days and then reel me back in. So you got her done, Doug. Good job. Some of you are still standing, maybe all of you are standing, but if you could raise your hand, I want to say thanks to and recognize Orion board members. So our board chair, Jerry Knutson, and Paul Richter, and Linda Lanham, Rick Schlehofer, Bob Fredrickson. Bob, by the way, was our broker. He's got a sign back there in case any of you need a good piece of commercial real estate. Al Orweiler. Where's that? And Rob Graff. And Brian Retzloff. And I cannot leave the podium without also recognizing the Orion staff. What a great group we have. They are responsible for managing these incredible business enterprises that we have and delivering these incredible human services that we deliver. And you know, it's really their hard work that has gotten us here, and we're all really looking forward to being part of this new community. So thank you, Orion staff. Raise your hands if you would, if you're an Orion staff member. Put them up high. There's about 200 of them back on the other side of I-5 right now. So the rest of the program, we're going to go ahead and turn some dirt over here. So it'll be the speakers and I. And then that will be the end of the program. Be careful as we walk across, because this is, the buses have a route they travel through here, so don't get run over. Kelly thinks she's timed it, so we're probably in between buses, right, Kelly? She's thought of everything. So speakers, let's get our hard hats. I did not mention Donovan Construction and Latitude Development. And if Daryl Donovan is here, and I see Doug Donovan and Dave Kessler, can I ask all three of you to raise your hands? These guys are doing an incredible job for us, and they swear we're going to be moving in the last week of February. So thank you very much. You may notice these shovels have a little Orion logo. When you own a couple of water jets, you can do all sorts of cool stuff. So I think at this point we're going to turn some soil. I want to thank everybody for coming. This has been a great get-together, and thank you for your support.